Welcome to another episode of Angry Comics. I am Jennifer O'Brien here today with Dad Static, Timothy Bannister, and the world's okayest sister, comedian Robin O'Brien.
Okayest sister.
And she's the world's okayest sister, and I am sister, co-pilot, and BFF. So we each got each other
average
coffee
sister.
mug.
We're average.
So we got a lot to talk about today, guys,
Yes.
and I know our time is limited. So much to talk about with the food supply crisis and all these
Elon Musk
buying Twitter. We've got Venom in the vaccines, possibly, and COVID-19 being Venom, and just crazy conspiracy stuff going on in the media. But let's go ahead and just jump right in, guys, with everything. You mentioned Elon Musk buying Twitter. What you got with that?
Okay, who loves Elon Musk in this room? Who thinks he's like, this is the greatest thing ever?
I have my doubts.
I'm gonna show a gimp tan.
It's
I
still
got a
out
gimp
for
tan.
me.
It's a gimp tan.
Oh, I love
Meaning,
that.
like, I can't all the way hold up my hands. Okay, I'm gonna hold up two out of a 5. Yeah, there you go.
That sounds about right. I like the idea of seems like some people are shaken a little bit by it, I guess. But it's always scary when one person holds complete power. He's done things in the past that I don't agree with. I think he's about free speech, but he also has some beliefs that aren't necessarily going to match up with all of our beliefs either. So it's a little good and bad, I guess, at the same time.
Yeah. He believes in transhumanism, so my gimp hand actually could have a robot hand on the end, and then one day kill me in my sleep.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I go for that so much. I think he's definitely got some scary thoughts on there that I'm not sure that I'm going to go with. So
yeah.
I feel like there's all these other platforms that people have jumped to since everything went down after election crazy stuff, when you watch your own president get canceled. So I think everybody's kind of made their moves. It's going to be interesting to see if everybody jumps back on Twitter. Robin, I know you got kicked off. I don't know if you're even able to get back on right now, but
no, I sent like a couple of my friends on Twitter. They try to say, "Hey, reinstate her," but and I replied again. I've applied again, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I
Some
mean,
people have been like Dr. Zev Zelenko. Not like I'm like him, but he got back on.
I hadn't been on in a long time. I'd got rid of my account a year or two ago. I got back on last week or so, just mainly for my podcast a little bit. But there's some good folks on there to follow, and I only follow with. I just literally got on there, you guys, and I do some of the Canadian folks that I really support, and a few other things like that. And but that's it. I don't really follow really much else.
The truckers the Truckers 5 Freedom group, I think, had been either shadow banned or were kicked off, and they came back on a couple days ago, and they picked up like 50,000 followers or something within 2 days. So, and from what I'm reading from the Twitter, the chatter is that people who you can tell that who you already subscribed to and liked, their feeds are starting to come through. So if you follow a lot of medical people, you're going to start seeing the people that you wanted to see in your feed as opposed to what they wanted you to see.
Oh, well, that's nice. That will be nice. I haven't been on enough to notice that, but we'll see. I mean, I think only time's going to tell how this will shift.
I got some for you guys real quick.
What you got?
It was some old tweets that Elon Musk had put out there that people want to say, "Oh, he's so great." And honestly, I think I like that he's mixing stuff up and trolling people. Honestly, I think it's funny.
Right.
It's nice to see the tables turned. Not going to be mean, but okay. Here's some tweets. It's high time there was a carbon tax. He said that in May 13th of 21. He said on July 24th of 20, as a reminder, I'm in favor of universal basic income. Would you let your employer implant a microchip into your hand? These are things he thinks about, neural.
He's already said it, yeah.
It's called Neuralink. Neuralink, I think, is one of his groups. They solve brain spine injuries, but the long term is human AI. Here's the word for you: symbiosis.
Yep.
Symbiosis. What is that?
Symbiosis.
Transhumanism. Half.
Oh, that's.
Creepy.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, in a sense, aren't they already doing it with these bionic knees and hips and replacements of it? am I wrong in saying it's already we've already introduced ourselves to the concept of replacing parts of our body?
We're cutting off parts of our body. See how you warmed up the water for me?
So I think we've already done it. It's just a matter of how far will we go. And I think only time's going to tell. I still don't know. The verdict's out with Elon Musk. I think it's interesting to see everybody in an uproar.
Yeah.
You know what I think part of it is that there's a lot of Christians that like us that we follow the Babylon Bee and things like that, and he's kind of he's become friends with those guys in some kind of unique way. So I think a lot of people see that and they go, add some legitimacy to a lot of Christians to support him, but he's kind of all over the place. He's definitely for free speech. He's all about. I think Babylon Bee brought some attention to them because he didn't think it was right for them to get kicked off and other things like that. So that's what I don't know. I think it brings some legitimacy to a lot of the Christians out there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Time will tell. So, guys, have you guys been paying attention? And we're going to switch to a screen share. Just the food supply.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Right. So, this has been kind of an interesting thing that I've been, trying to follow a little bit. It just seems like, did you see? I also saw this. This is an article on uncoverdc.com.
Okay.
Did you see this? The Gates land holding by state, all this farmland that
no
Bill
way
Gates owns.
Are you serious?
So
that's not even the shell corporations that own all the stuff. That's not even accounting all the shell stuff.
So that's just something to let let that one sink in when you close your eyes tonight going to bed. But it just goes.
Who's that pregnant man next to me with the tractor? Right.
With the tractor. So it just goes in. This article is showing all the different food manufacturing plants that have been two have now been hit by planes. 3. And the rest have been sabotage or fire outbreaks.
Right.
Let me share. Do you see, guys? Is it showing right now this this little? Let's see what. Make sure I'm I'm going to show you guys something else too.
Okay.
Which I find quite interesting. As well. It's cha cha cha
cha cha cha. I can read them off to you.
This thing. Want. Okay, you see this? Look, it just lists all the dates.
There you go.
All the dates and the food plants and the locations and how they were. And it doesn't even include the one that just happened here in Covington, Georgia on the 21st. But it just goes through all these. And if you look down, like if we just forget the very first one at the very bottom, August of 2019. Okay, forget that one happened in Tyson.
Right.
Or even if we took out all the ones that happened last year.
Right.
I mean, we still have well over a dozen that have been hit since the beginning of this year.
Yeah, and don't forget we've also had, Jen, 27 million chickens and turkeys.
Oh, the bird flu.
Because of bird flu.
So you guys, and this is not just happening here in the U.S. This is just U.S. But I was reading. This is a sausage factory over in the U.K. went up in flames. So this is happening on a mass scale.
Yeah.
And and it's like people are like, okay, it's one thing if a few.
You're just a conspiracy theorist. Fires happen all the time.
I know.
It's just coincidence.
I mean, even
well, I don't think.
Yeah, we know Biden.
I think there's. I mean, everything is manipulated now. I mean, from the media on now, definitely. They send infiltrators into you name it, whatever event it is. There are paid actors to go to these things. So who's to say they can't pay, a few people some money to go out and do some arson or cause something to shut something down. Anything that causes them maybe a little stress on something, who's to say? I mean, they can do that. Wouldn't be that hard for them to do. I mean, these guys can pretty much go buy up all the land in the entire Midwest, so they can do anything if they really want to.
So you think about it, this is almost like phase 3. Like there's destabilization. Number 1 was with the riots, right? 2 was with the pandemics, and with the COVID, and now 3 is the food.
Right.
And those all could have been you could easily have seeded all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of that stuff could happen. Now looking back, we've seen before, I mean, they could do anything. They really could do way worse than that if they really wanted to.
Sure.
I mean, you name it. They could infiltrate whatever it is. So you name it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it always goes back to Klaus Schwab, let's bring that guy up again.
So creepy.
He's fun. He's fun. Let's talk about that
dude.
guy.
I think he's an okay guy. He's okay. I think he's got some good visionary
Okay,
stuff
is it me or is all of these like billionaire weirdos, millionaire weirdos, they all like have like weird lives, backgrounds?
Oh, how about that picture
yeah.
of Klaus Schwab at the beach, right?
But isn't there a picture of like the Zelenko guy like that? The Zelenko guy's the same way.
Okay.
I think they're just so out of touch.
We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected.
Come again?
What was that?
I mean, what did he say? So it's like they don't hide it. First off, they're telling us right here.
So I think Satan has to tell like the truth or something. Like there's some sort of deal with the universe or the Lord that he has to say what he's going to say. Because I feel like even people have said things that you're like, oh, they just said the truth. They just said the quiet part out loud. I think they have to.
And he sounds like something from Hogan's Heroes, like the goofy general, Colonel Klink's boss. I mean. Yeah. It's like can you get someone else to talk for him that doesn't sound quite so evil? It almost sounds like, Dr. Evil, of course. Like he's patterned his talk after Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. It's just it's almost unbelievable.
He has a uniform where he looks like he's on like a Star Trek, like a black Star Trek. Like the whole uniform's all black. So it's not colors, but it's just like, ew. Oh, he kind of looks like the guy from Superman. The Superman guys. Who are the two Superman? Remember the characters on the one Superman movie where they came in and they were all wearing black and they flew in?
Yeah, it was the three. That was it. He fought these three. He had to fight these three people, and they all had the same outfit on, like the triangles or something on their chest or something.
That's what he looks like. He looks like one of them.
I know what you're talking about. It was almost like a PR. It was like a PR stunt. If it didn't seem so weird, but it was like it's just he's got a marketing group behind him to see. It's just so bizarre. It's just.
Can I tell you guys something? I sometimes have this idea that like AI has this really wonky sense of humor of how far they can push the human brain.
Right.
Like it's like it's a weird sense of AI humor to like put like really awkward things out to see if you'll accept it, and your brain won't go, that's stupid. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's me.
I think there's some truth. Well, we know how the psychology works. They know this. They've been studying this for thousands of years, so they know the psychology of it. They know what they got to do. There's a plan that's been in place for thousands of years. Whatever civilization it is, start from point A. Let's do this and then do this, and then here we are. Boop, we're right here. So that's what they've been doing.
Wow.
And, so what to do to save the civilization?
Now that we're awake to it, we pray for our enemies. And many times when God's when God's people are oppressed and they repent and turn back to God, he will cause their enemies to turn on each other and destroy each other. And that's been my prayer. Like, God, let those that are going to repent. But in the meantime, those that won't, have them destroy each other. We just need to start praying that and believing that. He did it many times.
It's true
in the Bible, and I believe he'll do it again. So we need to be crying out for that. But and
somehow we need to put like George Soros and on one side of the playground and like the Clintons on another.
Put them all in the ring. Like let's do our own little coliseum and just watch all these guys destroy each other.
Put pig's blood on them and throw some pit bulls in there. I don't know.
I like it.
There'd be a lot of people pay to see that.
Oh, I
Go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead. I mean, I think people are pissed.
Okay,
people are pissed.
I think that people are going to. I think at some point when people wake up and realize that a lot of this was planned, and like that there were like world leaders and global leaders that had a part of this, and they thought nothing of destroying your grandmother for their plan to make money. I think at one point people are going to wake up and go, "This happened to my family because someone made a decision." behind a desk hundreds of miles away to make money at it. And like, is that sick or what?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And then they had plenty of cover. And what was it? This is just disinformation kind of thing. The whole laptop thing, going back to that, just they can do whatever. If they got the media in their pocket, they can manipulate anything. And when it goes back to the laptop, that would have probably changed no matter what we think about fraudulent, the election in 2020. That information about that laptop, when it came out, like it should have, the New York Post was trying to put it out there, but it was squashed on Twitter. That when it came out there, most likely Biden would not have won no matter what.
Until we
they see just how grotesque that family is.
Yeah, you have to sue. We have to sue these people for the things they've done. The New York Times for withholding information from the American public. Until you sue them in courts, they'll just keep doing it. It's the only way.
Yeah. But that's why I think this is going to be we're going to have to see the mighty hand of God step in. Did you guys see something about one of the elections, and it was in France or something, and they're writing against it, feeling like it was
you talking about Macron? You talking about Macron winning?
Okay, is that what it is? I don't know.
He supposedly the conservatives that were running against him had a great chance of winning, but I don't know how it works there exactly. But Macron is a world, he's a World Economic Forum, graduate as well. He's part of that as well for France. So a lot of people are very, very upset he won. So, you got to have some kind of integrity when it comes to or at least that people need to know that, hey, it's not perfect, but hey, this is the true winner. And you're starting to have a problem. And that's a major problem. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, France actually had a revolution. Am I right, or am I right about that? I'm not sure. I think they had a revolution several hundred years ago when they killed everybody. So the people will rise up if they feel like they've been done wrong enough.
You're right.
Your audio's a little choppy today. I don't know what it is.
Mine is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So I did see that, and I just kind of haven't really stared too closely at it. But once again,
people say it's because there wasn't like a big choice. Like it was him or the other guy. Maritime, I think is the name. Maritime.
Either way, I mean, here's another group of citizens, a nation who also believes that their election was compromised. So we're seeing this across the board. I believe.
Guys, come on. You are doubting that President Biden got 81 million votes. You guys are doubting that? Come on. He's a popular guy.
Well, I don't know if you guys have been to one of Biden's rallies, but one of his rallies is pretty amazing. It's a great rally.
Just we just need one rack.
They got like 25 folding chairs and
just one rack,
teleprompter. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Isn't it interesting?
But I'll say this on the flip side. I actually watched a Trump rally. Like I've only watched a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's starting to cuss a lot, and I kind of don't like
I noticed that. He really did. I watched one. He was really, I think he said the F word.
He said the F word. He said GD in Ohio last week. I was like, oh. I mean, he really gets the crowd going, and he kind of rickrolls, and he teases people, and, he's a funny guy, but, he gets the crowd going.
Well, so he needs to clean up the potty mouth. I'm just saying, I wasn't a fan when he said he was cussing one time. I was like, come on, Trump, clean it up. I mean, we can all say things. I'm not knocking it. I can cuss with the rest of them, but clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, come on. You're going to be the president again. You need to clean it up for the kids. There were kids in the audience too.
But does it go back to what's our faith in? I mean, let's be honest. He's not the savior. I mean,
Elon.
None of these guys are the savior. So, I mean, do I want someone that's going to get in there and get the job done? And but at the end of the day, we can't even put our faith in.
Of course not.
In that.
No, not in the. Oh heck no! I mean, Trump is the closest thing that stands for what most of us believe in. But at the end of the day, you just sometimes just pull off of the name calling back up just a tiny bit, and because all it does is instigate people on the other side to come out of the woodwork and go against him. Sometimes you have to be Mr. Nice Guy all the time, but just back off a little bit. It instigates. It's so inflammatory with some people that it defeats the purpose of what it is sometimes. Yes. I'm a friend. Believe me, I've done 100 times more than what we got now. I just wish he'd be a little. He doesn't have to be perfectly presidential by any means, but just back off on some of it a little bit and just see you got to say, and we believe in you. Believe me, we believe what you're saying because most of us agree with what he says. But just, I wish you would just kind of tone it down a tiny bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a touch, but anyway.
Just
a touch. So
Jennifer,
what else do y'all have going on?
Yeah. Tim, you got
well, I was going to say something real quick. I had done this. I've been trying to read. We all do our little podcast things, and Jen, you have some really cool super guests on there and things, because there's so many people with great information out there. So I met a guy through one of his articles. We talked on Messenger the other day, and he and I are going to have a podcast at some point. But I read an article today, and I saw a documentary about 2 months ago, and just really I've been trying to start. How to get into as deep as I want to yet about news and media disinformation and just kind of the history of it, not just of right now, but how did it go into? You guys remember? You probably heard that Time Magazine, named Adolf Hitler Man of the Year. I think it was in 1933 or maybe it was 36.
Really?
Maybe it was when the Olympics were there.
Wow.
This is Time Magazine where he's a front picture, just like Patrick Swayze would have been on the front of Time Magazine. He was. They were kind of. And the New York Times had correspondents over there, and they were really pushing positive things about Germany during all that time and all that kind of stuff. But I saw a documentary. It was about the Spanish-American War back in 1898. And the battleship Maine exploded. And I'm just kind of going over the gist of it. The battleship Maine exploded. Spain kind of was ruled the island of Cuba at the time. And there was a lot of people that were against the Spanish revolutionaries, and some were for them and all this kind of stuff. Well, anyway, there was a big thing back then that the battleship Maine exploded while it was in port in Havana, I believe. And, they're like, remember the Maine was something we learned in history classes. Remember the Maine. That's why the war started.
Remember the Maine.
Well, essentially, back then, William Randolph Hearst, who was the head of, I'm not sure, the New York Times, and Joseph Pulitzer, the head of like the New York Post or something like that. They were the big magnets of the time. They were the Elon Musks of the time. They were gobbling up newspapers around the country. Anyway, come to find out, about a month after the battleship exploded, they had done an investigation. Most likely it was one of our own mines, one of our own American mines down there that did it, or some kind of ammo thing. They had coal burning in the ships back then, and it caused the explosion. But, instead of getting the answer and finding out the truth, those two guys were pushing hard to sell newspapers. So they started making up stuff in the newspaper. It was called first beginning as a supposed yellow journalism or whatever.
Right.
They started making up stories of like these Spanish colonials in Cuba are raping women. They're doing this. They're killing people. I mean, just these outlandish things like we hear now. We don't know what's going on in Ukraine because we don't know this. And so it was going on. It happened before then too. There was stuff under the. So anyway, it was all propaganda that started that war. It was all a battle for viewership or newspapers between Hearst and Pulitzer, and that was the whole thing. You can look on YouTube, just give you the gist of it, but that just gives you a pretty good idea of where we are with the Ukraine. I believe one thing anybody says about the Ukraine. I think it's real to the civilians that are over there. I think they're going through a very difficult time, and probably Russian civilians too. But I think the political part of it, the military part of it, much of it is very fabricated, and you see pictures of stuff that don't make sense. They did the same thing back then. They were putting up fake pictures of stuff that was going on in the 1890s to get people fired up. And essentially, the people in America is the one who called for that war because they read everything in the newspaper.
That's right. Like anything that the media pushes now, like now, anytime, you just need to really be on your guard. Why do they want me to look over here? Like, what does this mean? And many times I've even noticed one side will say what they're really doing and they'll accuse the other side, but they'll do it preemptively.
Yeah.
So it's very odd.
Yeah, it's nothing new. It's been going on. I mean, we covered up for Stalin in the 30s because we were trying to get him recognized for whatever it was that would benefit us in the long run. Who knows? I mean, there's so many things. I really am just challenging myself. Like,
the massacre.
Read stuff back 100, 150 years ago. See, because this stuff was going on, but now we have a different form of technology. It's kind of like that creepy guy on was it not Klaus, but the other little guy that spoke about.
Back in the something. U-Haul.
Yeah, that guy, that creepy guy said like, well, back in the 1800s, it was the Industrial Revolution, and we were doing factories, and now he said the new Industrial Revolution will be people, kind of. Mm-hmm. They will be worthless, and that what I mean.
We're eaters. We're worthless eaters.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's it. That's it. It's just it's wild.
Need to plug us up to a screen. That's what they need to do. They just need to get us plugged up to a.
Yeah, well, I think he said. Well, he said something else like, well, I think the only thing that really begs the question: what are people going to do if we don't really need them? Well, he said video games and drugs.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Yeah.
We know where the drugs are now.
Look at it. Well, look at the opioid crisis right now. Sorry. Well, okay, so let's go back to food just for a second. I mean, what are they putting in the food? I mean, let's go back to the whole theory that the venom is COVID-19 is snake venom. They do know how to now. They talked about putting the vaccine in food. I mean, is this maybe what's going on? I mean, is this just a push that we do need to be kind of getting on our own food sources, getting away from this manufactured food system approved by the FDA, which we know they're all compromised.
Well, guys, remember this, like during that last year of COVID, in the schools, they were giving all the food away, and they still are. Like in my kids' school, they get free lunch every day, regardless of who you are. All the kids, I don't know if it's America-wide, but certainly
hepatitis is on the rise in young children. You know that
it is, and now they just came up. Actually, yesterday I just shared that. I can share it to you. They found that it was in one of the vaccines, unfortunately. So, but it's happening in the children, right? So you're kind of like, that's interesting. Why is it happening in the children? Because it's an age group that doesn't get the shot, ages 2 to 5. Right. So how did that happen?
Shedding.
That's something to look into. But I don't know. Let's just say this. Last summer, we had RSV outbreaks, which never happens in the summertime. It's a winter thing, RSV. Right. And guess what they were testing in trials? RSV vaccine in trials. So, I mean, we could say there's a link between vaccines or not. I don't even care. What I'm saying is there's something going on. And can we please just be open to the idea that something's happening and affecting people, whatever it is, whether if it's a side effect of old
5G, COVID, man, it's 5G. They're cranking the 5G.
Can we just all be open and collaborate and get to the bottom of this instead of shutting people down and saying,
Well, it's always going to be the narrative they want. I mean, we just woke up to it because we have because we can go to podcasts and we can outsource it. We are now waking up to it. They've been doing this to us for years. And now I'm telling you, guys, I think this is, God's never had to take a red pill. I have to tell myself that all the time. God's never red pilled. He knows it all. He sees it all. We're the ones red pilling.
That's a great point.
Sometimes I have to just be like.
I have a friend, talking about food shortages. I have a friend of mine who's a super guy. He does a lot of research about what we're talking about a lot. Great guy. He told me he thinks the tipping point for food shortages is when fast food restaurants can't serve anymore. He thinks if they run out.
They're already doing that. They're already slowing down. They're already slowing down the workers. So less people go hiring.
There's some stores around me that barely even, or a lot of times aren't even open. I mean, because they can't get enough people at work on the day. Like there's an Arby's down the street from here.
Yes.
They barely can keep the drive-through going. Barely. In some days they don't at all.
Okay,
it's just it's a waste of time.
Let's be open-minded here, because this is how I keep thinking, and I keep sitting in this place. Like, let's think ahead here, folks. If food issues are a problem, how are you going to solve the problem to feed your family? Because you can't go to the grocery store, you can't go to the fast food place at some point. It'll become it'll probably still be there. It'll just be very expensive. The supply will mark itself out, or the government will take over some of the food supplies. And then you're like, come on down to the stadium and come pick up your food package for the week.
And that will be the next thing. Most people, and even me included, I don't have a garden set up or anything right now, but we need to. But I think that's how 100 years ago, that's how we all lived. That's how everybody lived. And
we have to.
I think that
we have to think that way.
We got to start thinking that way, and just start having your own little garden, and free stuff. Hold on to stuff. Just have it, or canned stuff, pickle things, whatever it is, just so you have something.
I agree.
Oh, I picked this back up again. Started looking at it. called the Foxfire.
Foxfire, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so back in the it was the see what year this was in. What happened was there was a group of high schoolers. It was in Georgia, and
yep,
probably
I remember those. We read that in high school or middle school.
Did you?
We read those. Oh yeah, we did Foxfire. I remember we did a several week thing on it because there were several Foxfire books, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's several of these, and it's a collection that they did. They had a newspaper up in the Appalachian Mountains in Georgia, and what they did was they started to collect the stories from the people of old before they died off, like how to do things. Like in this book, it talks about like how to, if you're walking around in the springtime, what foods you would find in the spring.
Forage.
Beekeeping, honey, how to raise sheep to weaving cloth. I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So I picked that up.
You can get blackberries pretty easily. If you can go, blackberries go great in Georgia in summertime. You can go just load up on those. Go get fruit, blueberry bushes, you name it. You can definitely do it. You just got to make a concerted effort to do it. Right now, there's so many people.
Right now, I'm going to start now, and then because it's past the 15th of April, so it's safe. And then the second thing I was thinking of is like probably need to look into doing those like where people do sprouting inside indoors, like in those little indoor gardens. And that's something you can do year round.
Yeah. So I think I've watched a lot of YouTube. That's great, Robin, what you said about sprouts. I think we have got to kind of stock up on what we can. Go ahead and just get a little supply of something, pray on it. Don't do it out of fear. Just do it out of just getting ahead of it. Because not only for you, but maybe worst case, you have a little extra to give to your neighbor that might not have thought ahead. So, and then, those of us that are not in positions to think ahead, that are maybe moving or transitioning right now, God will take care of you and whatever season you're in. We know that God is bigger than all this. Amen. But right where I'm looking into, I'm gardening, I'm planting my potatoes. I'm just getting ahead of it. And that gives us something to do. I mean, you can sit and get fear-filled all you want, but do something about it. Go do everything we can to stand against this evil in this hour.
Make friends with farmers, support your local community, get to know your neighbors, work on your neighborhood
support local business, support small businesses.
Exactly. They got killed during the pandemic. They were killed.
Crushed.
They were crushed. Who benefited? The big guys. That was by design.
Yep, it sure did.
Yep.
That's exactly right. So we need more businesses that are owned by Christians and owned by people who believe in what this country really stands for, and not the garbage that we hear today.
Hire people in the community. They're the ones who hire people.
Yeah.
And if we go to an economy where we have to, trade, you can't walk into McDonald's. They're not going to take that payment.
Right. I think finding out what we can do good at. I mean, hey, if you're a fisherman, go fish. If you can use a crossbow or you know how to hunt, do that. I mean, everybody find what they can do to contribute to their community, and find your community, go to your Saturday morning, right? Your farmers markets. That's where you're going to find your meat guy. You're going to find your bee person, everybody. And hey, all those years of Little House on the Prairie, guys, it's finally coming. It's coming up. Let's live it out. Let's live it out right here, 2022. In closing, anybody got any closing thoughts? We're going to be wrapping up.
Yeah, you said Little House on the Prairie. My 13-year-old is doing it. She loves it. She learned all that stuff. So yes, I'm down with that. But yes,
Tim, are you going to be like weaving together pieces of hay till your fingers bleed?
Yes, I will do it.
That's the sweatshop episode.
We've been watching. There's something called Homesteaders Rescue or something on Discovery Channel. It's about people moving off the grid and learning how to do a greenhouse in the middle of the wintertime in Alaska. All kinds of crazy stuff. It's really pretty.
I gotta watch this.
We got to do that. We got to figure out our winter harvest. I mean, honestly, guys, I really think as much as you can, start getting a plan.
We could do a podcast, 3 Stupid Preppers.
Yeah.
This videos of these dumb things we're trying to do to make food. So,
hey.
But thank you. Thank you again. I always enjoyed doing it with you, being on here with you guys.
Yeah, it's been good. All right, guys. Well, we'll see y'all next time. Check out Timothy Bannister, Dad Static. We got Robin O'Brien. She's got part of the Mark and Robin show. And Jennifer O'Brien show. We all have our own kind of thing on the side, and then we do this together. Please support us. Leave a 5-star review. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace. Thank you so much. See y'all.
God bless.